Hello, a lot of people ask, well, what does National Home Education Research Institute do? NHERI, what does NHERI do? What's a think tank? How does a research institute help anybody? What's going on? It's kind of strange, hard to understand. Let me just give you one example today. Several years ago, a peer-reviewed journal, a scholarly journal, asked me to be the special editor of an issue all on homeschooling. So basically, I went out, I invited about 10 different scholars to write articles. They sent me manuscripts, and I have to read all the manuscripts, try to improve the manuscripts, make revisions, send the manuscripts to the editor of the journal. He has to look at those, make comments, send them back to me, try to get more revisions from the authors. I invited people who might be considered somewhat positive toward homeschooling. I invited negative critics of homeschooling, put it all together into a journal. Now, the editor, that's me, the guest editor, has an influence because all scholars say that they're objective, but really, in reality, all scholars, professors, researchers have a worldview that affects how they think about an issue, what they say in their articles, how they write the articles, how they ask people to revise the articles. So you can see that behind the scenes, a guest editor is having an impact on what comes out eventually in the journal. So in this particular case, it was a Peabody Journal of Education. Now, the editor could have asked, say, a Marxist. He could have asked an LGBTQ theory activist. He could have asked a critical theory, a critical race theory, a statist, a socialist. But he asked me. I'm none of those. I am a liberty-loving, classical liberal person, comes from a Christian worldview. Now, remember, all researchers have a worldview that affects how they do things. So anyway, this resulted in the Peabody Journal of Education. I'll hold it up here. A special issue, all on home-based education. We have articles in here by people like Mike Ferris, Lubienski, Brian Ray, and several others. Now look at this journal. You say, well, what happened? Okay, Brian, that is really thin. That's less than 1/2 of an inch thick. This journal, the entire issue now, sells online by the publisher for $209. You get access for 30 days. One article out of about 10 in here, just one article for 24 hours, you pay $42 for this thing. Now you might say, well, you must have got paid a lot of money. No, I was paid nothing. In a sense, it's considered a privilege to do this kind of work. So your donations to NHERI is what gives NHERI and me the time to do this kind of work that has an impact. So that's just one example of the way that NHERI, the National Home Education Research Institute, is working behind the scenes and up front sometimes to have an impact on, to influence journalists, scholars, the courts, legislators, and to serve homeschool families and the homeschooling community. So it's just great when you support NHERI. We get to do things just like this. Thank you very much. This is one example of the type of service NHERI provides. But to do this takes money, and that journal who invited Dr. Ray is still not going to send a check while they are selling that journal for profit. For NHERI to be able to support the homeschool community and general public, the homeschool community needs to support NHERI. NHERI is a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization. Please consider adding NHERI to your regular giving. Here is where you can do it. www.nheri.org/donate